A bull jammed its horns through a man that I've probably walked.
Wait a minute. We are here to talk about Teruel.
Ah, yes. The beautiful medieval city is the capital of the province of Teruel, located on the east of Spain, about 144 kilometers away from where we live.
Castellón.
Yep. And I learned that Teruel is one of the smallest of Spain's province capitals, and the only one without a direct railway connection to Madrid.
The only one?
Yep. But I get why it'd be so isolated from the rest of Spain. It's about 915 meters above sea level. That's about 3,000 feet. And with such a small population with Moorish roots, it became known as the town of Mudéjar. How do you pronounce that? Mudéjar.
It looks like a set on Game of Thrones.
And it could be. For comparison, this is Madrid, and this is Teruel. Madrid has a population of about 3 million people. In Teruel, only a measly 35,000, just about.
That's not fair to compare.
You know what's really not fair is the fact that Teruel was considered sort of a forgotten province, which provoked a movement in order to demand recognition from the rest of Spain.
Exactly. Teruel existe was the name of the movement.
Exactamente. Teruel existe.
But don't forget what this is all about.
You're right. La Vaquilla.
La Vaquilla.
Yep, and that's exactly what we were celebrating, at least the first 2 days. So the thing in Teruel is that there's a time set aside in the month of July where everyone basically sheds the masks that they use in everyday life and be their regular wild self. So it's about 11 days more or less of partying and just carnage.
And I convinced Bayo to try it.
It was worth it. And now we're going to leave you with a recording of our adventure in Teruel.
But if you want to know more, just don't forget to click this link that is going to take you to the full story.
And then Kristina drove us to her father's house where we would spend the night resting for the affair. A few of Kristina's friends accompanied us, Marta, Sara, Mireia, and Spencer, also visiting from Washington, D.C. We were to head to Teruel, a place of which Sara quipped, Teruel no existe. I asked why. She said there was this strong political push in Spain to transform the city of Teruel into a touristic destination. She said that at one point most Spaniards couldn't point the place out on a map. Implemented to transform the city's fortunes was a very expensive strategy meant to raise the place from obscurity. Vacation homes were built, masseuses were hired for spas, and ski slopes were constructed. Millions of euros were spent on advertising a new identity for small Teruel. But nope, nothing. In Spain, Teruel is still mostly known for two things: a failed marketing campaign and Torito, the wine-throwing festival. The area is important for 2 days.
So let us explain what is going on.
The video you're watching right now is a celebration called
La Fiesta del Ángel,
better known as
El Torito.
As the legend goes, to conquer Teruel from the Moors, the Christians tied flames to the horns of thousands of bulls and set them loose on the city. After the slaughtering was done, the Christians came into the city to find one lone bull.
Just one?
Yep, just one. And that's what this tradition celebrates, the role played by bulls in reclaiming the city back for Spain. El Torito is a festival of luck.
Que beautiful. But going back to the main point, what you can see right here is called El Chupinazo.
That's the throwing of the wine. And the climax of this comes when someone climbs to the top of the pillar to tie a red scarf around the bull's neck.
El Pañuelico, dressing the bulls as they dress themselves.
But to get started, here's what you're gonna need.
Next, we march into the supermarket. We were an army of 7, but the girls had lists written in habit. They snatched up cheap wine, soda, cups, water, jamon, a few snacks, and we were out of there. Kristina added a twist. She bought water guns so we could shoot ourselves with wine. It ended up taking us a bit more than an hour to reach the venue. We drove up to a street corner in Teruel and parked the car on a sidewalk like everyone else. Kristina and her friends already knew the traditions that marked the event. I just had to follow along. This was the time to unpack and relax with friends from different towns. If you ever have the chance to travel, I hope you get to experience your destination through the eyes of a local. It is far more enriching. There were hundreds of people sprawled out on grass lawn.
But is this the only thing Teruel is known for?
No, there's actually much more. Probably the coolest thing about Teruel. Well, you've heard the story about Romeo and Juliet, right?
Who hasn't, baby? The most romantic love story.
Yeah, you think so until you hear about the one from Teruel. I'm going to tell you about Diego and Isabel. Diego and Isabel, los amantes de Teruel. It's a bit long, alright, so I'm going to try and speed this up for you. The story comes from the 13th century and is about Diego and Isabel, childhood friends who fell in love with each other. As children, they were both from wealthy families, but as bad luck would have it, Diego's family would lose its riches. But Diego was in love with Isabel, as she was with him. However, Isabel's father would have none of it. He wanted his daughter to marry a rich man, but made a deal with Diego. He told Diego that if he would leave for the Crusades and come back with riches, then Diego could marry Isabel. The time limit was 6 years. For 5 years, Isabel did not hear from Diego, and for 5 years her father had begun offering her hand in marriage. She waited for her Diego till the 5th year when she finally gave in to her father. After being married, Diego arrived with the riches that he promised. His love drove him to success, but he had to sneak into Isabel's room for her time. Diego asked Isabel for a kiss, madly in love. She denied, saying that she could not because she would not betray her husband. Diego died at her feet after being denied a kiss from his true love. And at his funeral, Isabel bent over to finally kiss her true love goodbye, and she too dropped dead at his feet.
That's a beautiful story.
Do you want to come back in February when the entire town reenacts this love story?
To the Fiesta Medieval? Of course.
And if we're lucky, maybe we get to get a costume and dress up like everyone else in medieval clothing. Approaching the center. I had a water gun filled with wine. It was emptied thrice before we got to the fun part. I was using Kristina and the girls for target practice, but I also had an action camera mounted on my head recording the event. It made me an even bigger target. I didn't have to worry about finding alcohol. People threw wine at me and handed me cups so I could throw it at other people. I gladly obliged. Often. You only live once, and Spain is a good place to take pleasure in that life. The scenes were insane. White shirts were purple, wine was no longer for drinking, and no one had a care in the world. I felt bouncy with vigor, or maybe that was just the wine. Those in the homes parallel to the streets in which we slugged threw water down at the rest of us, buckets of water. If washing us was their plan, it was to no avail, because as soon as the water hit the ground, everyone around me would refill their cups, tossing its contents in no particular direction. Be careful, Bayo. Sometimes people throw vodka, Kristina cautioned. I'd like to think George was delighted at this part of it. I was too busy going crazy with glee to check.
To find more, click the link to the article below.
And before we go, let us tell you why you should give Teruel a try.
First of all, beautiful landscapes.
And it's known for its Mudear art. 4 towers here are recognized as World Heritage Sites by UNESCO.
It's also worth visiting El Mausoleo de los Amantes, where the bodies of Diego and Isabel lie together forever.
Teruel also has a pretty cool dinosaur museum, Dinopolis Teruel, where you find some of the oldest remains in the country.
It is the perfect family escape.
In this province, there are also 2 ski resorts, more economic option if you like to ski.
If you decide to experience the Fiesta del Ángel, you cannot forget to eat properly. So you're liking this one, because Teruel produces one of the best jamón serrano in Spain.
Don't leave Teruel without trying a bocadillo de jamón serrano.
Perfect.
You woke up, grabbed some breakfast at the cafe, and headed home. And now, the next time I hear about childhood and water fights, I will remember an adventure and skin sticky with wine. You really ought to travel. When it isn't profound, reflective, or jaw-dropping, it is a whole bunch of simple and mindless fun, especially if you come here. When you're booking your next flight, I hope you consider Spain. Spain is such a precious country, a gem hidden in plain sight. I've been to Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia. They are as you would expect of the 3 biggest cities of Europe's vacation nation. These places are teeming with tourists eating their tapas, strolling through the museums, and taking selfies at world-famous attractions. But you won't find the true Spain in any of these places. This country is about old customs that identify the very wondrous variety of self-expression born from small towns. You would hardly find the same irreplaceable experience that is Torito in the center of a metropolis. You have to step out of your comfort zone to find where life is. Take a leap of faith and try something new. That too is your chance at a small adventure. Until the next one we can share with you, live a little.
So how was it? Did you have a good time?
It was amazing.
Are we gonna come back?
Maybe.
Thank you so much for watching. Our goal is to show you that traveling is more than just visiting a city and observing. Traveling gives us the opportunity to absorb another way of living life. Any other places we should visit? Share your adventure with us by leaving a comment. Make sure you click on our blog, photography and art. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video, subscribe by clicking here and you won't miss the next one. Keep your mind open and start planning your next adventure. Until then, be your best and spread kindness.